Today, I'm going to be teaching on 3 building blocks for successfully launching a vision from God. 3 building blocks for successfully launching a vision from God. God had given a cupbearer named Nehemiah a vision for repairing the walls of Jerusalem. Nehemiah was not born or raised in Jerusalem. He was born and raised in Persia. He was one of the descendants of the exiles of Israel. He was a cupbearer, an administrator in the court of King Artaxerxes. But when he receives a report from his brother from Jerusalem that the walls were broken down, he was really moved to take action. He prayed to God that God would give him success to make a successful journey back to Jerusalem to lead the effort to rebuild the walls. God gave him favor with King Artaxerxes. And Artaxerxes gave him papers so that he could have safe travel when he took that 850-mile trip to Jerusalem. Artaxerxes also gave him timber to help rebuild the walls. Not only that, Artaxerxes sent with him an armed guard to give him cover and protection if he traveled through hostile land. And so Nehemiah arrives in Jerusalem with a vision. The question is how to successfully launch that vision. And if we look carefully at the scriptures, we'll see 3 building blocks for successfully launching a vision. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 11. Nehemiah says, I went to Jerusalem, and after staying there 3 days, I set out during the night with a few men. I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem. There were no mounts with me except the one I was riding on. By night, I went out through the valley gate toward the Jackal Well and the Dung Gate, the walls of Jerusalem, which had been broken down, and its gates, which had been destroyed by fire. And so the first building block that we see here is that we should investigate before we initiate. Investigate before you initiate. Or you can write it down as walk it before you talk it. Nehemiah had already heard a report that the walls of Jerusalem were broken down. But now he's going to see it for himself. He's going to inspect the walls to see how bad things really are, to devise a plan for how to apportion the work so that the walls can be repaired. Investigate before you initiate. Now, in order to properly investigate before you initiate, there's going to be a period of time where you're going to have to be willing to keep to yourself what you have seen. Just because God shows you something, hear the Spirit of God. Hear what God's Spirit is saying to you. Just because God has revealed something to you does not mean that you immediately need to go out and tell everybody about it. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs that a word that is fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pitchers of silver. That means that the right words spoken in the right setting is beautiful. Is something that will draw people in. You know, if you see apples of gold and pictures of silver, not only is it beautiful, it makes you want to have one of those apples. When you cast the vision in God's timing, when you speak a due word, a fit word in due season, other people want to grab hold of that. They want to be a part of that. But one of the things that can kill a vision before it even gets off the ground is when people become impatient and begin to speak before it's time to speak. You see, Nehemiah had the what. He knew